Welcome everybody, RedArrow-XXIII here, and it's time to boom some beaches. Welcome to the first episode in the Zooka training guide. Today we're just going to do a quick introduction into the Zooka, a few fundamentals or keys when using Zookas, and then we're going to go through a couple of landing techniques. So let's just dive straight into it. Zookas, low health, high damage. So that tells us that they are very high risk, but they're also high reward. If we can get them to somewhere where they are protected, or you can shock everything that's a threat, then they can just do absolutely massive amounts of damage. This really comes into its own in higher level operations. You'll see that on an operation like Dead End, you'll just have pretty much all attacks will be all Zookas. Zookas. Just all day. So they're just a really valuable troop to know how to use. And just absolutely critical for higher end ops. You won't be able to do high end ops without Zookas. So let's jump into the fundamentals now. So the first fundamental is just around mines. So because they're such low health, the Zooka, you really have to worry about mines. My mines are only 202, so I can take a few hits off of one of those. But if we look at AJL's base, I've obviously practiced this base a couple of times. You can see that his mines are level 22 and their damage is 296. So that's higher than my 270 health Zooka. Obviously I don't have a troop health statue. A level 21 mine only does 269, so that would leave me with 1 health on each Zooka. So I'm going to go ahead and show you sort of the what the radius will look like if I have a group of Zookas walking over a mine. This is how much damage it can do. So we've decided that a mine can take out a Zooka. Boom, taken out like 10. And if you've really grouped your Zookas well, it'll take out a whole bunch more. Can take out half your army in one poof. So you've really got to worry about mines. A couple of things to consider with mines, like you obviously want to try and get rid of them with GBE along the way. But you also have to be concerned with, especially player versus player, that there are hidden mines. It does happen on operations as well. It might be hidden behind the power core, might be hidden behind the sniper tower. Only real way of being able to find them is by looking and by touching as well. Sometimes you can get a better angle if you move off to the side. The angle changes, especially on the on power cores. I've noticed this a bit more. You can see some of the mines from different angles. But yeah, mines, big issue. So I'm going to use one of the attacks from a couple days ago because it seems to cover off the other 3 fundamentals that I want to talk about. So Zar's got no troop health statues, got 104 Zookas. The first one I want to talk about is you don't want to waste GBE when you're operating around single shot buildings, especially if they're very slow to fire. Even mortars, if you get the smoke, it'll take too long and it won't be able to fire. But with single shots, it's only going to be able to take, so that boom cannon can take out a Zooka every 4 seconds. That cannon can only take a Zooka out every 3 seconds. Snipers every 1.4, and grapplers can grab, depending on their level, can be up to 5 seconds or a lot quicker. The second thing that we're going to see here is that he's using grouping to his advantage. So he wants to protect his Zookas from the splash damage up top. So he's using smoke, but he needs to make sure that they're all grouped so that he doesn't have to use, he's only using 1 smoke line. If they were too wide, then you'd obviously have to use 2. As you see there was a little bit of a gap, and you can see how critical that is. With that one rocket, you put quite a lot of damage on about 3/4 of the Zookas. So if that rocket launcher was higher damage, or if it got 2 shots off, that would have been most of the Zookas gone. So you really have to be careful around splash damage buildings. You can see that he's worried about the flamethrower. When he gets there, he's going to be worried about the flamethrower, the machine guns, doom cannon, because the doom cannon does splash damage now from the most recent update, and obviously the rocket launchers around. So he throws out his shocks just before the smoke expires, and you can see even with just 3 mortars firing on him, he's lost quite a few Zookas there. And now that he's moving up, he's used up quite most of his GBE, so he's not going to be able to protect himself from the splash damage. And just see how fast it takes out these Zookas now that he can't protect them. Boom. They barely got a shot off. So it just proves how ruthless splash damage can be to Zookas. With the Doom Cannon, I'll just elaborate on it a little bit more. I've seen the Doom Cannon take out, if they're really grouped, all your Zookas are really grouped, it can take out 30 Zookas in one shot. It's just crazy. So we used to not worry about Doom Cannons because they could only take 1 at a time, but now you just can't ignore them. So those are the fundamentals. Watch out for mines, watch out for splash damage, make sure you're grouped when you're smoking, and minimize your GBE usage around single shots or slow targeting. So let's go into a couple of standard landings that we like to use within the task force. The first being a standard smoke landing, a standard flare landing. So all we're going to do is drop a flare in the corner to keep our Zookas nice and low, and then we're going to drop a boat of Zookas, and as soon as the first Zooka steps off the boat, we're going to be dropping the next boat of Zookas. And then as you drop your subsequent boats, you want to be putting the flare on the previous boat, because you don't want to gap, I was trying to show you a gap and it didn't work. But you don't want to gap in each boat, because if you only have a limited amount of room, spreading it out will ruin your grouping. But the idea is to keep them all nice and tight, so that when you flare up, they can all go fit under one smoke. We drop a boat of Zookas, and then each time the first Zooka leaves the boat, you want to be dropping the next one. And you can get into a bit of a rhythm as you go. So you'll kind of get used to how long it takes between each boat. And then when you flare up, it should be grouped close enough to all fit under one smoke. That's basically the aim of what we're trying to do here, is get them all nice and grouped so that we can fit them under one smoke and just keep going. And we'll cover that more when we jump into the pathing video. So it's the standard flare landing. You've kind of got to adapt it if the beach is what I call a hot landing. So as you can see here, there's a rocket launcher. So as soon as I drop Zookas, they're going to be targeted. So I don't have time to do a nice flare landing, then flare up, and then smoke. I have to smoke the landing. I'm going to do a quick demo of that. I'm going to do the same thing. I want to flare into the corner first, because the flare lasts longer than the smoke. And then I'm going to drop 2 smokes, because I'm not feeling heaps confident. And then it's the exact same thing. If you want, you can wait a little while and drop 2 at a time, so you've got more time to lay smokes. And that can help you out quite a lot. So you'll see how low I put the smokes, because I know where the Zookas are going to be. You've really got to make sure that you don't drop your smokes too high. I've seen it happen for quite a few players. They think that the Zookas are going to appear higher than they actually do. And if you're flaring in that bottom corner, they're never going to go that high. So you want to make sure that the smoke is nice and low, and where they overlap, you don't want the Zookas passing through the gap at the bottom of the smoke. So you just got to be thinking about that. It is possible to do a smoked flare landing in 2 smokes. I'm going to attempt it now, but it's very difficult. And I need to practice this a lot. So if you drop your flag right on the edge of the smoke, see they were outside it, so that second one was where the first one should have been. And then if I drop another one, see the smokes were too close as well. So it is possible, but it's very hard. You can only just fit 8 boats under 2 smokes. So I usually like to use 3 smokes. And I drop the 2 first, and then a third one. So it is a little bit difficult. It takes a lot of practice, because when you're doing a hot landing and you're having to drop smokes, you have to switch between the flare, the smoke, dropping Zookas, dropping more smoke, and then the eventual next flare when you actually go where you want to go. It's a lot of button clicks, and you just got to practice it. So that's the flare landing. Then we've got the flag landing. So Zookas will treat a flag basically like an individual boat flare. So if I drop a flag over here, that's exactly where those Zookas are going to go, and if I drop a flag here, that's where those Zookas are going to go. You can use this to your advantage. So if you know it's safe in this corner, you can just drop all your Zookas there, and they're all going to move towards that flag. And if you have an anchor, you could use a smoke, and they'll all just gather there. So I'll show you the anchor on Swix's base. So I'm obviously going to lose a few Zookas while I'm showing you this, because I don't want to be putting smoke all over them. But if there were no defenses around, or it was a flamethrower and you knew you were going to outrange them, you can use all your flags, all in one spot, and then drop a smoke there. And they'll all, when they get there, they're all just going to stay there. And the reason we call it an anchor is because they're all targeted onto that machine gun now, or a defense, or something that's there. The reason we're smoking and we're not just letting them attack the machine gun or the fuel cell, it's usually a fuel cell or something that you're anchoring on an operation. The reason we smoke there is because if you take out that fuel cell or that machine gun, whatever you're using as the anchor, your Zookas are going to look for the next target, and they're all going to spread out. And then you're going to have to re-flare to group them all back up again before you start your walk. Okay. So as you saw, I lost quite a few, or I got targeted a lot by those rocket launchers on the land. So we can combine the flag landing with smoke. So this is a lot harder because the smokes start to expire before your Zookas can get to the spot. But so if we drop, we'll make it really easy for ourselves and drop 3 smokes so we don't have to worry about it too much. And then drop our flag right in front of that machine gun. And another smoke cover the anchor point. And you'll see that those first 3 smokes are expiring very close to when my Zookas were leaving the area. So if you drop your smokes and then hesitate for too long before you drop your Zookas, they won't make it in time and they'll get fired at. Another way to kind of mitigate that is you can use up the delay in the rocket launchers. So they'll be targeting you, but they won't be able to shoot fast enough. So the idea here is I'm going to drop all my flags for my Zookas, and then I'm going to smoke them. So drop all my flags, and then smoke, and smoke. And I obviously missed that left one. I could have used 3 in that first layer of smoke, and that would have made it a bit better. but it is possible to drop them all under 2 smokes. So that's using the delay on a flag landing. So that covers it for the flare landing and the flag landing. Those are the two most common types of landings for Zookas. So the best place to practice these will be on friendly challenge. You obviously won't lose any troops, they will just be knocked out. Dr. T, you can use both bases, but the larger base, the volcano base, will have a larger beach to practice on. You can use them on non-player bases, so your NPC, and then when you get a bit more confident, and when you're using the NPC, you can either choose to use all your votes and practice fully, or you can just use 4. And then when you get a bit more confident, you can start using them against player versus player on your map and in operations. So that covers it for this episode. We covered the fundamentals, quick intro into the Zooka and landing techniques. The next Zooka training episode will be on pathing, so you can look forward to that one. So give us a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and subscribe for more. Boom!